let's talk about the prerequisites, right? Because the thing is, when you're going to nursing school, you want to make sure that, first of all, you're going to get in, right? So it's best that you get your prerequisites before you take the NCLEX, because you want to make sure that you're doing well in them, right? But if you are already an A student and you've already taken these classes, if you've already done a bachelor's, you probably took these classes already. And that's why I put them afterwards, right? But if you haven't, these are the basics. Different schools have different classes that they ask for, but basically these are the ones: chemistry, child development, English, human growth and development, general biology, microbiology, statistics, anatomy, and physiology. But I'm going to tell you the most important of all of these is anatomy and physiology. I always say nursing tells you about what's wrong with your body. Well, it's hard to understand what's wrong if you don't know what's right. So anatomy is something that you really have to focus on. Biology, of course. So now let's talk about, we've already done the prerequisites. We've gotten into, we did our entrance exam, and now we're in school. Like, what are we going to be seeing? What kind of classes are we going to be given? Well, here are a list of the most fundamental, basic nursing class workloads. And people, let me tell you, these books are huge. They're like this big. I actually had to get one of those rolly book bags, because the back, it couldn't handle it. But these are intense classes. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I do like for people to understand that it's a lot of information. And here's where you can put it in perspective, right? So we have to know just as much the basics of what the doctor knows, right? So like, let's say the doctor knows this much, we have to know like this much, right? Because we can correct him and we can tell him when he's wrong. As a matter of fact, the doctor will prescribe something, the pharmacist will fill it out, but the nurse will get in trouble for giving it. Not the doctor, not the pharmacist, but the nurse who gave it, because she should use her nursing judgment and knowledge to know that is not the medication to give this patient in this situation, which means there's a lot of information that's in your head and there's a lot of weight on your shoulders. Therefore, there's a lot of schooling you must go through. Fundamental of nursing, medical surgical nursing, which has nursing 1, nursing 2, nursing 3. Then there's pharmacology, then there's obstetrics nursing, then there's pediatrics, then there's psychology, and then there's clinicals. Clinicals is a whole other ball game. Like, clinicals is where you practice what you learned, but the dynamics of it is really different from the classroom, as you could well imagine, because you're dealing with not only your teacher, but you're also dealing with your clinical instructor, and you're also in a facility that with actual patients. These are not mannequins, right? You did the mannequins in the classroom. These are actual patients, and the fear and the stress, not only on you, but also on your clinical instructors and your school. It's a lot, right? So I want you to have that in mind, not again to be afraid, but to be conscious of what you have to be aware of. But it is so doable because it's been done in the past and it can be done again, right? And if you're listening to this, it's because you know you have some aptitude for it, right? And you might even have a love and a passion for it. And if that's the case, there's nothing you can't do. And there again, there's God, right? So then, so now more exams. So now we already mentioned the prerequisites. Now let's talk about while we're in nursing school. There's a lot of exams. Of course, every schooling, you have to take tests. But the thing about nursing school, as with any other professional school, it's not like any 4-year, 2-year, 1-year degree. These scores actually will determine whether you stay in school or not. Whereas you can get a 2.0 and kind of skim by with schooling in the other degree, not in nursing, right? So I mentioned the HESI, they give you that after every close of a subject, whether it's pediatrics or nursing 1 or nursing 2 or obstetrics, they'll give you a HESI just to test your understanding. And what they say is, if you score 85 or higher in the HESI, they have the propensity to believe you'll do well on the NCLEX. But if you fail the HESI, they probably won't even push you to the next class. You won't have to redo the class. You could take the HESI, those HESIs, a couple of times, but they will not pass you to the next class. A lot of schools will not every school, if you do not do well. Some of the schools, they just look down on you and they're like, you're one of those, right? And you're kind of marked. But there are schools that will not let you pass through. Okay. So the other thing too, it dictates allows to continue. So that's what we just said. So now again, on more exams. So now here's the thing about exams. So you know how when you're in school, you don't just get exams, you get homework, assignments, you get projects, you have to work with each other, you have clinicals. Well, nursing, in order to pass, none of those things matter. You could have spent how many hours doing a project, how many hours in clinicals, and it doesn't matter. The only thing matters is your scores. That 77% or 85%, if you do not score 85 on the exams alone, talking about quizzes, you get 100 on your quizzes, that doesn't matter. You get hundreds on all your homeworks, that doesn't matter. If you fail your exams, you're not moving on, right? And that's an important fact to take into account. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it when we think about the role of your peers, okay? So, all right, so now let's talk about the biggest exam that's part of nursing, the NCLEX, your boards, right? This is like the bar, or I don't know what it is for medical school, but it's just that important, okay? So you have to do a lot of preparation for it. But the thing is, if you go through nursing school well, again, in my book, it talks about all the different ways to study and all the steps that you can take in order to absorb the information and register in such a way that you can retrieve it. If you go through all of these classes that we mentioned before here in a strategic manner, and you're not taking tests just to pass the test, but you're actually learning the information as you go through nursing school, this is not going to be a problem, right? But for students who are a little bit more weak in those subjects, when it's time to take the NCLEX, they do have issues, right? Some of them are afraid to take it right after school ends, and they take a longer period of time because they realize they didn't learn much, and they have to kind of teach themselves, right, before they go take the NCLEX. But this is the demarcation or what states whether or not you're a nurse. You can graduate from nursing and never become a nurse, like you because you can't practice, you don't have your license. So let's talk a little bit about it. So it's for LPNs and RNs, right? So PN is the same thing as LPN, licensed nurse practitioner, and RN, as you know, is registered nurse. So they say 6 weeks before graduation, you receive 2 applications from your nursing school, and one is to let them know that you have just finished your schooling and you are equipped to take the exam, and the other one is to apply for the exam. So the first step is to apply, right? That you do that before you graduate, because you know you are going to graduate, right? And then once you graduate, then you send that paper and say, I'm done. So now they'll send you, I forget the word, what they send you, a piece, it's a number that tells you that you're ready to take the NCLEX, right? Anyway, it's $200, right? And you can register by phone, or you can fill out the application online, as you can see here. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the NCLEX. So this is the LPN. The LPN is 85 questions to 205 questions. So you're like, wait, it's not set? Why? Well, the thing about the nursing exam is that it doesn't test your knowledge. It tests your safety, right? So they adjust the questions according to how you answer. So let's say you answer a question that's at this level, you get it right. The next question you will get will be at this level. The next question is at this level. As you get them right, they increase the intensity and the need for judgment in the next question. But as you get them right, they try to ask you a question that is similar to it, another question that is similar to it, and they're hoping that you get the hint and you realize, I really need to focus and get this question right. So and that's for both of them, LPN and RN. And so some people, they have an exam, the NCLEX, and they'll finish at 75. That means every question they gave them, they got them. They got a few wrong. You can get at least 15 wrong because 15 of them are just trials. Obviously you can get a little bit more, but they're seeing that you are at a standard level of understanding of nursing and your level of safety is what it should be. But once you start to fluctuate and you answer this one and then you answer this one, and they start to get a little skeptical, and then they keep giving you questions until, there are people who reach 265 and who pass. And there are those who reach 265 who fail. There are those who reach 75 who pass. And there are those who reach 75 who fail. So the amount that you get does not dictate whether you pass or fail, right? So the maximum hours for the LPN is 5 hours. Maximum hours for the RN is 6 hours. And if you fail, they send you a diagnostic to tell you which subject matter you failed in and which ones you were near passing and which ones you were above passing. That way you can help yourself by studying those topics a little bit more, right? So now let's talk about the role of your peers while you were in nursing school, okay? So again, while you were in nursing school, even though this NCLEX is after nursing school, right? Throughout the whole time, you were preparing for it, right? So I just want to let you guys know that. So now, what is the role of your peers, okay? I tell people, because I have experienced this, you cannot do nursing by yourself. And unless you're a total like genius maybe, or like you're super smart and you could handle a lot of work and exams, and because they throw a lot at you. And what I used to do, and I recommend people to do, is you find a group of students that are much smarter than you, that you can compare notes with, compare homeworks with, because you will find that there are subjects you're more proficient in and very apt to do really well in, and there are others that you're not. And so the times when you come across a homework or assignment or a subject that is harder, you need to be able to rely on a friend or a classmate and be like, listen, I got to focus on this today and I can't really focus on this right now. So how about we work on this together and I work on this by myself, and then we come together and then we see how we can work this out, like, so I can pass, right? So studying groups, peers definitely need studying groups. Help with assignments, help with projects, help at clinicals. Like, don't do clinicals by yourself. Like, ask for, information. Sometimes it is not, I don't know. It depends, like, you have to really read your instructors to see who they are and how they are, because some will literally just fail you because they don't like how you look. And I'm just being real because I lived it. And if you have ever been in a, nursing environment or anywhere, people can be like that. Like, they just don't like your vibe. They don't like your face. And then they're like, you're not making it. So the more you can ask your friends, as long as you're not hurting your patient, right? Or get your books out and kind of, bring your doses calculation and your whatever books you need. My point is, use your peers. Moral support, they're there for that too. Practice, they're there for that. I'm talking about, we have practice putting IVs in each other, giving each other tuberculin tests. Listen, you're going to need your peers. Okay. So don't be one of those, I don't need anybody, because you can, but it's going to be hard. Okay. I'm just letting you know. So now clinicals. Okay. So clinicals can be hard depending on your personality, who you are. And like, if you are a hands-on person, it could be harder. It could be easier. And if you're more like a book person, theory person, it can be harder, right? But knowing what you know will help you at clinicals, okay? So now you have to know that it's an additional expense, right? The uniform you're gonna buy, the shoes, the stethoscope, they didn't include that in your fees. So that's that's extra money, right? And other things that you have to, purchase: your drug book, your care plan book. The care plan book is a must, because even though as nurses, we're not supposed to diagnose, I cannot tell a patient she has asthma. But once I find out that the patient has asthma, there is a treatment plan for that I as a nurse must know, because if the doctor deviates from that, then I cannot perform that task, right? So the care plan diagnosis book is extremely important. But, finding where you're going to go, who's going to give you a ride, and how you're going to get there. Those are like little things that can cause a lot of stress in clinicals. Having your clinical instructor like you or not, the kind of assignments that you get, these can be really taxing, because you're already under stress of passing the class, and clinicals will not pass you, but clinicals will add an extra stress on you that will cause you to fail the class because you're focused on that. And you can fail clinicals and pass the class, but you cannot fail the class. Well, actually, you can pass clinicals and fail the class, but you won't go anywhere. And then you're gonna have to do it over again. So then what's the point, right? So it's most important that you focus on the class, but clinicals are important too. So then these are 3 helpful nursing apps that are super important when you go to clinicals, right? So you need to know like what the disease is, what drugs to give, what the different interventions are, and these will give them to you, right? So one of the things that you do is you find as much resources as possible, because the one thing you will find is that clinical instructor who tries to make you look stupid, and they find people to try to make them cry, right? And you need to be on your game, and you don't have, it doesn't have to come off the top of your head because you're learning, right? So, okay, let me get back to you on that, and then pull out your stuff and be like, okay, it's this, that, the other. Nobody, even the doctors themselves, do not know everything in their mind. But if you have your resources, you're good. So do not be afraid of downloading these things, but I would recommend that you wait because they cost money, especially Hippocrates. So wait till you're actually in clinicals, but Medscape is free. So you can kind of like go through that yourself, you know? Okay, so now I can share with you of all the things I said, well, how can I help you, right, in this process? So once you get into nursing school, that is when I come in, right? Obviously, I could do the free mentoring where you're not even in nursing school yet, and I'm telling you where to go, how to go, what to do, right? But once you're in nursing school, I provide one-on-one tutoring. It could be on Zoom or in person. It's a little bit more expensive because if it's in person, I can do group tutorings. It's a little cheaper because there's more people there. I do online pre-recorded NCLEX reviews, and I'm starting to do like anatomy and physics, all these other classes online. And the good thing about those is that you can kind of record them. Well, they're already recorded, but you can play them anytime, and it's for a whole year. And even for you guys who, if you are brand new and you never knew about this, if you're not like, if you're a little skeptical and you're like, is this for me? Can I handle it? I have a, it is $600, but it's the whole of nursing from beginning to end, and it explains everything in depth. And if you buy it, right, and then you hear it and you're like, wow, okay, I can do this, right? Rather than pay thousands of dollars and then realize, oh, I can't do this, right? So to me, it saves you rather than cost you. Okay, but I also have the nursing notes, which you can kind of like look at and glance through, and you don't have to buy the actual me doing the lecture video or audio. You could just buy the nursing notes and go through them, and that's cheaper than buying a nursing textbook, which is like $250 or $130 before you realize, oh, I don't think I like this, right? I also have a 13-step process, which is in my book. I'm going to show you a copy of the book that I keep referring to, is How to Beat a Rigged School System. So in this book, it talks about learning and understanding, and I'll show you more of it later, but the 13 steps I'm talking about is in this book. But if you want to just read them and just follow it as you please, the booklet by itself is $20. But if you want me to help you through your course load and help you apply the principles and the rules, that's $100. And then I also do CPR, BLS, all of that. And the free seminars, as actually there's one coming up in January on fluids and electrolytes. It's free. I do different seminars every time, and I mentor for free. You can call me anytime, ask me anything. So this is an example. This is my website, where you get the information on what's coming out, what's new, what's out there, what we're doing. You can log on Gab-Nic Nursing Tutoring.com. This is the website where my courses are. It's on Thinkific. So I have so far the nursing notes for this is the LPN, this is the RN. This is an ultimate crash course for NCLEX. This one is the 13 steps, and there's a little bit of information on nursing in there too. And this is the refresher course, which has everything in it, right? That's the $600 one. So you could go onto Thinkific and find me there. And these are an example of the complete nursing notes, like the units, everything, everything. This is kind of how they look. They could look like this, they could look like that, they could look like that. So, and it's only $40. This is an example, the same book, right, that I have. And so in it, you have why you struggle with comprehension in the history of education. So there's a lot of people who are like, I'm so dumb. I don't understand. Why can't I learn? This book teaches you why. And it's a relief to know that it's not you all the time, right? There are things that you can do, but once you know the source of your problem, then you can find a solution, right? So it doesn't really matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter the language. There's a specific structure of learning that everyone goes through that a lot of people are not aware of. And this book teaches it to you, right? It teaches you how you learn, right? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a visual learner? Are you a tactile? It teaches you these things. And it also provides the 13 steps. But, and this is like the little website where it's on Amazon. So you could, Google it or put it on Amazon, whichever one, right? And these are the 13 steps, right? The thing I like with the 13 steps, you guys, and no one else promises this but me, believe me, okay? Where you know exactly what grade you're going to get, depending on where you are on this list here. And it's a checklist, right? You do the first step, you do the second step, and if you stop here, you're gonna get a 70. If you stop here, you're gonna get 85. And these are things that are really simple that anyone who's passing, getting 90s to 100, are doing. But sometimes we who are not accustomed to studying or don't know how to study, we don't know to do this. And we skip a lot of these steps, but this shows you how to do it, right? So now who will benefit from the courses that I was just telling you, right? Who are going to benefit? People who want better grades. Like if you're a B student, you want to be an A student, this is for you. Higher self-esteem. If you do well, you're going to feel good, right? More responsibility, right? The more degrees you have, the more responsibility you have. A better leader because you're going to have more knowledge. A greater career with more money. Nursing makes a lot of money, okay? And it's sad to say, but listen, I'm very transparent with you guys. I'm gonna tell you, right? Corona was a horrible thing, right? COVID was horrible, right? But there are people who have benefited from it as well, right? We know, the vaccine is coming out, the pharmaceutical companies are benefiting, different, but just to tell you, because nurses are such in a high demand, RNs who would make the least 32, the highest 56, are currently making $100 an hour. Food for thought, right? Greater quality of life. You make more money, you live better, right? Just no brainer. A better citizen. I say that because, short story, I was in McDonald's and these two ladies, they were having a argument. And the one lady was like, I'd punch your lights out if it wasn't for my job. Right. So see, that made her job made her a better citizen. Okay. So I feel when you have a career that you don't want to lose, you kind of walk a little more straight and narrow path. You know what I mean? So it makes you a better citizen is what I say. A better Christian. I put that in there because I know that, when people look at you and you feel blessed and you making money and you reaching places, they're like, ooh, damn, God must be working with you, girl. Right? Like, I'm just saying, that's not always the case. You have your own problems, but when people can't see it, they feel like you blessed. Trust me, you be a nurse and you are able to carry your own with the help of Jesus, you gonna feel a different type of way. I'm just saying, but I just put that in there because I'm a Christian. Okay, so I know you don't have the book. I'm going to give this book away to one of you guys, right? But even if you don't buy the book, because you're here, I'm going to give you 3 secrets that are in the book. Look, you can imagine there's more than 3 secrets in here, right? But I'm gonna give you 3 for free, okay? And then the person who gets this for free will get them all. So the first one is knowing the secrets of studying, right? So when you go to nursing or when you go wherever you go, right? Whatever you're trying to learn, it's important to do a complete reading of whatever instructions you're given, right? That just makes sense. But the funny thing is, much sense as it makes, not everyone does it. Like I know how many students I have met in my own class, in the classes I have tutored, and the people that come to me, for example, right? Let me show you, and you will understand why. If you have this whole book now, are you going to be apt to read it all? Well, the answer is no. but you must, okay? But the thing is, the problem with reading this whole book is not the fact that it's super hard, it's the fact that your brain thinks it has no time. So what I tell people is, when you have to study and you have a lot to read, just time yourself. Sit in a room with quiet for a whole hour, right? No distractions. Put the timer on and start it and read intently to understand. Don't move from the subject until you get it, right? And then when the timer goes off, you pause it. Then you calculate how much you've read and you divide that by how many pages you have. What that does is it tells your brain, calm down, I have time. Because if my exam is in 3 weeks and I'm able to read this book in 1 day, depending on how many hours I put in, or in 3 days, depending on how many hours I have available, my brain could chill out and give me some time to learn. That's the secret number one. Secret number two is never move on until you understand something. And I mentioned that as you were reading. The problem with us is that we just fast paced. We want to get it quick. We fast food, fast money, fast everything, fast reading too, right? We know about skimming. You know about skimming because I know about skimming. And as a matter of fact, I'm a whole word reader. So sometimes I don't read the whole word and I just know what it means and what it's saying. That's not how it works if you really want to grasp information, right? So you got to take your time, and you cannot move to the next subject until you grasp the one that you're on currently. Because what happens when you do that is you tell yourself, I'll get it later. Well, you know what? Later never comes, right? And what happens is, as you move on, you forget what you had not learned, and you cause gaps or chasms in your knowledge bank, right? But you needed that information to connect the dots for later information, and those dots are not there. And the problem is, let's say you get 5 chapters later or 2 courses later, and now you don't understand, but you don't know why you don't understand, because you didn't gain that information and you've forgotten that you didn't get it, right? So that's why it's important to go slow. And I know we want to go fast, but we have to slow ourselves down. We have to tell ourselves we have time, right? And we did that process in the beginning with the timing to tell ourselves we have time. I can slow down. I don't have to go fast. I can go ahead and look up this word. I can go ahead in the internet and find out what it means before I continue, so I can fill every single gap and hole in my brain. Notebook of unknowns. That is part of that I don't understand. When you don't get something, write it down, right? Because if you didn't get it now, you want to make sure you get it later. But how are you going to remember if you don't write it down that you didn't get it then? And you have to review it later, right? And you got to make sure that later when you review it, you know what you're reviewing, right? So you have to have a note, that a blank notebook, nothing on it. As you read, you're writing things you don't know. When you write it down, you look it up right away. You write the answer or the definition right next to it, right? And then you move on, because and the thing is too, you don't write the word and then wait till the end of the chapter to go look it up either. No, you don't do that. You give your brain what it needs the moment it needs it, because it will reward you later. And I don't know, you guys, I know you've been in school. I can't see your faces, but I feel like I see some very mature names. I don't know, just saying, right? So you remember when you were in school, right? And your mind told you to look something up, and you were like, nah, I'll do it later. Later never came. And then when you sat for the exam, and the very first question or a couple questions later, the very thing that you didn't look up is the question that they're asking for, right? How annoying is that? Well, I feel because we are children of God, God whispers things in our ears, and he tells us, I think that's important. I think you should look. He saw the exam when the lady was writing it. He knows what's on there. So sometimes he's trying to tell you what's going to be on the exam, but you don't want to listen. So when those time come, when that time, you write that thing down and you look it up right away. You feed your brain. You listen to God so he can help you out on the exam, okay? The last thing is learn it from different sources. This is the third most, is like this right here blew my mind, and it's going to blow yours too. A lot of us think I don't get it because I'm dumb, right? Because like, really, Nicolette, I'm really slow. Well, actually, it's not that you're slow at all. It's that whoever is giving you the information is putting it in a context you cannot grasp. But it's not either your fault or his fault. It's just you're coming from 2 different contexts. Your life and experience is different from his or hers, and their language is different from yours. And so the way they put that information, you can't get it. It functions or registers with their brain. That's why they spoke it, but it doesn't register with yours because that's not how you formulate words. I always use this example, right? I use the example of when somebody tells me they want to follow up with me. In my mind, what that means is we spoke today. In 3 days, I'm going to get back to you. That's what I thought that meant. But on the exam, I have found that means you ask that person right away. So do you understand what I mean? I didn't understand that because that's not what following up means in from my life, right? So the way I experience life is the way I understand everything. And so sometimes when you don't understand a content from a book, you find another book. Go on the internet, find somebody, find another teacher, go get a tutor, right? And I had this experience where I used to tutor students in my class, my very own class, and they were baffled to, like, Nicolette, I went to the same class you did and I did not get it. Why didn't I get it from her, but I'm getting it from you? And I say it's because I'm using different words, right? And so these are the 3 secrets of learning that I want you to register in your mind and understand fully so that you can improve in how you learn when you're learning. Okay, so now we're done with the nursing in a nutshell, right? But there's life after nursing, and sometimes, let me tell you, I wish I knew these things, right? So life after nursing, passing the NCLEX, okay? So take the test as soon as possible, guys. Oh my gosh, like if I had known that it was important to do that, I would. I was so scared to take my NCLEX, and there's so many people who do not feel that they have the knowledge enough to take the NCLEX that they wait, right? For me, it was more like I used to tutor my classmates and those below me, and I had like 16 other kids that I was tutoring, so I felt like it would be an embarrassment if I failed when I took it. So I said, no, I gotta study more. But the problem is, as time elapsed, you start forgetting. So the more I waited, the more I had to study. So don't let that happen to you. If you're going to wait or need to take an NCLEX review, do so. A lot of people feel like if they take NCLEX review, that means they're slow. That means they're not, oh, I should be able to get it from what? No. If you need review, get review. I always tell people, listen, there's a difference between studying and reviewing. You will not understand something until you review it. Right? So it's important that you get the review if you need it. And I definitely recommend that you come to me for it, of course, because I will get you to know it. You understand? But the other one is only focus on questions after understanding theory. So people who are going through nursing, taking their NCLEX, and even during school too, they're focused on doing questions. Like, listen, it's a rare, okay, for the NCLEX, it never happens. But there are times in school where your teacher will find certain questions and it'll repeat. But the idea is this. Questions, this is what I say questions are. Questions help you focus on what you've missed. Questions range this much of content. The textbook is this vast. So if you're focusing on pinpoint questions, you're missing a lot of information. But if you cover theory, any question they ask, you're going to get, right? So always make sure you understand your theory before you focus on questions, but definitely do questions, right? Because once you understand theory, now you need to know how can they use this theory to ask a question. Right? The next thing is start sending out job applications before you pass your board. So this is something I didn't know. I did not know that after I graduated, I wouldn't get a job. See, a lot of nursing students, not everybody, because some people have connections. Some people, are just, gifted. I don't know, but I had a problem getting a job right after nursing school. But had I started early, before everybody, because like everybody was already putting out the applications and I didn't know. So by the time I put out applications, jobs were already taken, right? So definitely put out your job applications before you can land a job without a degree, without your license yet, and still work. As a matter of fact, you can work as a nursing student. So why not a nursing graduate who has not yet passed the NCLEX? And that's the great thing about nursing. Like, they're so sure about the information that you're learning, they're willing to take you as a student, right? So please make sure that you apply early so that you can get the jobs early, right? The other thing too is if you can have a job as a CNA in a hospital, put your foot in that door, because the first thing they're going to tell you is experience. Like, come on, like, how am I going to get the experience? if you don't give it to me. You want me to have the experience to get a job, but you won't give me a job to get the experience. Like, I don't understand, right? But if you're in a facility and they know of you and they see your work, they're more apt to take you on once you've graduated and you can move up in that place. So that's why I would say when you're finding a job, make sure it's in the place you want to be in, right? Don't just go to a place like, let's say people don't like Kings County. I live in Brooklyn. If you don't live in Brooklyn, you might not know of it. You could look it up though. But it's a city hospital. A lot of people don't like Kings County. They don't like the weights. They don't like the people. They don't want whatever. So why would I go ahead and get a job there just because? Because if that's where I might eventually end up work, I might be miserable. So find a place where you want to work, right? And the other thing is to know is not all nursing jobs are the same. There's a difference between people who work in nursing homes and the people who work in hospitals. People who work in hospitals look down on people who work in nursing homes. They think that you are not really a nurse. You do not have the experience. And this is not just your coworkers. These are the people who are hiring you. If you've been a nurse in a nursing home for 10 years, you're not going to get a job in the hospital. They're going to say you don't have experience. The only way you're going to have to go entry level. And so that's why it's important. If you do not want to remain in a nursing home, don't start off in a nursing home and stay there for years. Do your best to try to find ways to get out. When they're looking for entry-level nurses, put your resume in there. Put the application in there, because you think you're going to sit in a nursing home for 5 years and you're going to have 5 years, 10 years of experience. That's not experience to them, okay? So it's the same thing about long care versus acute care. Right? So long-term care is rehabs and nursing home. Acute care is ICU. Even in the hospital, ICU is different from med-surg. Med-surg is different from the other ones, cardio with the, they're all different. They're all specialties. And none of them want each other. They want you to have experience in that field that you're going to work in, which is really hard. But there are times where, because you're in that facility, you can move much more easily than if you're coming outside. But know that that is a difficulty. Okay, so we're done with nursing, right? And where it concerns that, now I want to talk to you about, there's more to just working shifts, right? I like to tell people the whole picture, right? As a nurse, I'm a nurse practitioner, but I have a business on the side. I always recommend that people become entrepreneurs, right? So the knowledge that you acquire in nursing can do so much. As a matter of fact, I once read that there are 201 different nursing jobs out there. And any skill set that you acquire, you can use to make your own business, right? Right now, as you know, I wrote a book. I'm making money from that. I tutor. I'm making money for that. I do BLS. I'm making money for that. You can do so much. You need to have a lifestyle, right? To support your lifestyle. You want passive income and you need protection. These are the ways of the wealthy, right? So I don't want you guys to just like, okay, well, I just want to be a nurse, right? And that's fine. You could just be a nurse if you choose to. But if you don't choose to, know that there are other ways out there for you, right? So how are you going to figure this out? You're going to find your niche. You're going to find your passion. You're going to find your support. Make it legal. You're going to market your craft, and you're going to make money while you sleep. These are the things that are important, like the classes that I have. If someone chooses to buy a class right now, I'm talking to you and maybe someone is purchasing my class, right? That's a great way of making business. Okay. So what kind of businesses can you have? You can have nonprofit, non-for-profit, or you can have a profit. There are different ways, different businesses out there. Okay. How do you start though? Like, I mean, it sounds good, right? But what do I do? So the first thing is to be focused, like turn off distractions, like the television, like that wastes time. I don't own a television. Yeah, I don't watch television. I do watch movies from time to time when I choose to, but wasting time on television is not a good thing if you want to be that entrepreneur, that go-getter, that make money all the time kind of person. And ignore negative people, the people who are telling that you can't do it. And this goes with you becoming a nurse too, right? There are people who are like, oh, I don't know if you can make it, or you don't speak English, or you just came to this country, or I don't think you're smart enough. Don't listen to people that listen. Once God puts it in your heart and in your mind to do something, that is because he wants it for you, right? He wants you to try it. Now, Then again, you got to be able to decipher the words of the Lord and the words of the other one. All right. I hope you know the difference. But I feel God wants us to be, I know the Bible says God wants us to be at the top and at the head, not at the tail. So I know that he wants you to prosper. So if anybody else is telling you that this is not for you and you can't, please don't listen to them. Please don't listen to them. Okay. And then the other thing is to get to a mentor. Listen, I will be anyone's mentor. If you're willing and you want to, call me. I will set you on the way. Okay. I will get you the places, the people. I'll find information. If I don't know it, I'll find out, because I like to know stuff too. I'm not like, I love to learn, right? So even if I don't know something, I will find out for you. So get a person who cares about you, who wants you to progress. Get someone who's doing what you want to do and ask them questions, right? So now, where would business ideas come from? Well, to me, it comes from two different ways, right? So the first thing is, what are you great at? What are your goals? What do you aspire to be? What are your aims? The positive things in your life, right? So think about your achievements. Think about the things that you're good at. People say, wow, like, yo, I can never, like, how do you, like, that's amazing. Those are the things that you use to make a business, because you know you're going to excel in them, right? And you already know how to do them. That's a great way to start to make a business. These are some of my achievements that I've looked back on. I see, oh, you know, I could do this and I've done this. And the good thing too about achievements is it promotes you and it encourages you, because you're like, if I could do this, then I could do other things too, right? The second way to get ideas is the things you're not good at. And you're like, wait, you just said things I'm good at, and now you're talking about things I'm not good at? Well, yeah, you know what? I got this business. Well, this business was what I'm good at. I love to write. I love poetry. That's my gift, right? I have a book of poetry as well. This is my second book. But this business started from what I wasn't good at. When I was in nursing school, I failed nursing too. I couldn't understand why. Because I thought I was smart. I worked really hard, but I wasn't getting it. So I did fail. And I had to go sit down and say, Jesus, help me out. I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? And he had to teach me the steps to get it right. And because I was able to rectify something that I couldn't do, now I can help others rectify what they can't do. So yes, you can start a business from something that you don't know how to do, something that you have failed at, something that someone told you you're bad in, something that you want to change about you. Once you find out how to get that done, you can share with the world, right? So know your shortcomings. Like, I'm a procrastinator. I'm a horrible studier. I'm not good at math. Like, the list goes on. And I didn't know how to study. That's the etc. for me. I really didn't know. I was like, oh, I wish I could read a book and somebody would just tell me what to do, because whatever I'm doing is not working, right? So that was for me. All right. So now we're actually done. I'm going to go through some of the most frequent questions that I get from my students and people who call me. And then I'm going to open the floor for those of you who have questions of your own. So I hope, I'm going to look at the chat too to see, I think I can open the chat now to see if I could, if I was savvy, I wouldn't know how to do that, y'all. But anyway, let's go over these questions. So the first question is, which is better, RN or LPN? I get this question all the time. Like, which one do I do? Do I go to LPN school or do I go to RN school? Well, I'm a nurse practitioner, so which one you think I'm gonna say? RN, right? And there's reasons though. The reason is, first of all, an LPN cannot work everywhere. An LPN can definitely not work in a hospital. An LPN cannot do everything an RN does. An LPN cannot assess. An LPN cannot admit. An LPN cannot place an IV. There's things that an LPN cannot do. So why would I want to do something that somebody cannot do? Why? But there are reasons why I cannot. I might choose an LPN, right? The reason why I might choose LPN is because it's less money, right? Because it's less time. But in my understanding, it is less time, but it's the same information. Like, and I could tell you because I have both the LPN book and what's the RN book? I think I have it on my phone, but it's almost the same thing. The few things that the LPN doesn't do, they're so few and far in between that when they're at work, if an LPN is like really like good at her stuff, like even though she's not supposed to, sometimes they tend to do the things that the RN is doing, right? Unless it can be legally a problem for them, right? Because I know, like, for example, they can't give medication through a PICC line, but there are times where they will. right? Like there's certain things that they will do. So my point is, yeah, if you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the money, then go ahead and do an LPN, and that's fine. Respect, great money there too. But to me, RN is the way to go. Yes, it takes longer, but time is going by. Like it's what time is it's already 3 o'clock. I've already been talking to you for a whole hour. Like maybe I was doing the talking, that's why I didn't feel it. And you were listening, you probably felt that hour, but time goes by fast. You see, so it's just time, right? A little bit more information, true. But I think if you're able to do LPN, you can do an RN. But let's say you start with an LPN, then you can move up to RN. Because once you're an RN, then you can move up to nurse practitioner, right? So in my opinion, RN is better, but that doesn't mean LPN is not good as well. Next question, can you help me find a good school where I will not lose my money? Okay, now that's that question. That question tells you all that there are schools out there that will just take your money and leave you high and dry, okay? There are scammers out there who will tell you that they will make you into, I don't know, Florence Nightingale, and you won't be mad because she did. But I'm just saying, like, there are liars and scammers and people who are just there to take your money, right? How do I know? I've seen those students. I have had students come to me that I have spent the time and energy to tutor, to go through this whole book. You see this whole book. And a few weeks before it's time for them to take their exam, they get a letter from what's that other place, the abbreviation, the Department of Education, where they take the tests, and they tell them, as per our records, your school is not blah 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 blah. You cannot sit for the. How heart-wrenching is that? That's horrible. So how do you stay away from that trap? You go to this website right here, where all of the accredited schools are located, signed and delivered by the New York State government of professional nursing, something or the other, right? That is a sure fact. And if there's a school that's not on there, I told you what you do. You call the state board place and you ask them, sir, ma'am, I'm going to give you a name to a school and you tell me if I could sit for the exam for this place. Are they accredited? Listen, it's better that you find out. It's better that you lose a year's money rather than 4 years' money is worth. Like that's devastating to me. Okay. And like I know 3 females, 3 ladies who went through that. One of them, as a matter of fact, thing by the grace of God, the school lost the accreditation after she graduated. So by the time she graduated, they told her she couldn't sit. But with investigation, they realized her time that she was there, the school was accredited, so she was able to sit. But there were 3 ladies that they found that they were not able to, right? So they had to go to another school online or whatever. They had to do what they had to do, right? You don't want to be in that situation. And if you have a doubt and you will need my help, call me. I will let you know. I will find out for you. I have connections. Well, not really, Jesus is my connection, but I'll find out for you is what I'm trying to tell you, because I don't want you to fall into these traps, because money is not easy to get by. And the next question, and the last question here is Gab-Nic Excelsior a school? No, it is not. I cannot give you a degree. I cannot give you licensure or any paper to go sit for your licensure. I am a tutoring center. I am an information center, right? You come to me after you've been enrolled in a school, and I help you the best that I know how, by the grace of God, and I'm very good at it. Believe me, I'm not boasting. It's been proven that I will get you to the place that you need to get to by the grace of God, right? So I'm a tutor and not a school, okay? I am currently associated with a nursing school that's located in New Jersey. That's called Best Care College, and I can refer you to them directly. I actually know the administrators over there, so if you want more information on them, I can refer you to them. I do know of some schools that's in here of students that I've tutored that I know which ones are better, so I can connect you with schools, but I cannot give you a degree. Okay, so these are the places where I'm located. Like if you're done with this, I have all of your, well, not all of your, because some people are on here that I may not have your information, but there are people that I do have information. But if you want to follow me on Eventbrite, anytime that I have an event, you can find out about it. I am on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can find out information there. These are the upcoming events. On January 10th, I have a session on understanding fluid and electrolytes. That's like labs and what they mean and what they do for you. It's on a Zoom call. It's at 2 o'clock. It is a month from today. On Tuesday the 19th through March 24th, I will be having an LP and NCLEX review. It's also on Zoom. It's from 6 p.m. to 10. And on the 2nd through April 21st, I'll be doing an RN NCLEX review, also on Zoom from 6 to 10. And here is my information. Please jot it down, take a picture, call me anytime, ask me any questions. And now the floor is open. If you have any questions that I have not answered, or you need me to research that I don't, that you need to answer. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask me whatever.
This was a great informational session there. I just wanted to know for those there who were not able to make it in, is there a way there perhaps that you'll have another one in the future?
Yes.
Or we just keep in contact with you?
I have one every month. So the next one I have to look and see in my calendar here. Hold on, let me look at my Zoom calendar because I think it's in my Zoom calendar. So nursing, so February 21st is the next one. So this one's today. I guess every 2 months. I'm not sure. But anyway, the next one is, I can do one sooner than that and I can send out the information again. But I have here February 21st is my next one. But I can also make another one in January. I think it's because the fluid and electrolyte one is in January. And so I made the information one in February. But I can also make an information session in February as well, in January as well, for those who want to. Either, because I know it's a lot of information and you might need to hear it a few times before it kind of sinks in. So definitely.
This was great because I have so many friends who had a difficult time, passing the nursing exam and, actually navigating through the journey. So I love the way you mapped it out to, just as you mentioned, to avoid pitfalls, because in this day and time is time, money is money, and you want to definitely conserve both. So I thank you for putting this together.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for asking questions as well. Any other questions? Also, I'll take suggestions as well. But before you guys go, I will tell you the person who will be receiving, hold on, the book. It looks like it will be SEME. You were the first person on that I saw. SEME, if you could text me, here's my information. If you can just text me your information and I can send you the book. Semi, I guess, right? Semi, are you able to hear me? Are you on? I'm gonna, hold on. I'm gonna unshare, stop share. Okay, let's see. Okay, did that person leave? I'm not even sure. Because then the next person I remember seeing was Miss Peggy. Okay, I think Semi left. So Miss Peggy, if you would send me your information, I will send you a free How to Beat a Rigged School System 13 Steps to 100%.
Yay!
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for joining. I'm going to go ahead and pray, and we can bring it to a close. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to do this presentation. Thank you for those who joined. Thank you for those who care about nursing and the information that I have presented. I know it's not always an easy journey, but it's a journey that can be done with you. And when we have people who are able to give us more information, as Rika says, we can avoid some pitfalls, and that's a great thing. Thank you for the fact that they long to be in this field where there's a lot of caring and taking care of people, seeing pain and trying to alleviate it, all the wonderful things that we do as nurses. I ask that you continue to help them and continue to guide them and help them reach their goals. And if it's not for them, it's for someone else. I'm grateful that they're listening. I pray that you bless the rest of the day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Thank you again. I will see you guys maybe in the next session. Have a great night.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. For more information on how to register for classes and get help from our tutoring center, visit www.gabnicnursingtutor.com. That is www.gabnicnursingtutor.com. To view our free or paid classes, sign up on www.thinkific.com. That's www.thinkific.com and register for the pre-recorded classes of your choice after searching for the Gab-Nic Tutoring Center uploads. We offer in-person tutoring and Zoom calls. You can also find us on YouTube for more free classes and tips on how to do better in nursing. We are also on Facebook, where we upload articles, tips, and tricks on how you can make your journey to becoming a nurse smooth and near effortless. Did I mention Instagram? Basically, we are everywhere. So check us out or call 917-602-9927 and we will tell you just how to join. See you soon.